Hello friends, welcome to your very own channel, Deep Dive. Here we bring you summaries of the world's best books in a simple and easy language. Today, we're going to talk about a book that has changed the lives of millions of people. This book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book teaches us how very small habits can completely change our lives. Often people think that to achieve success, one must take very big steps. But the message of this book is the complete opposite. It says that if you keep making small improvements every day, your growth becomes extraordinary in the long run. So let's start with the first chapter of Atomic Habits and see how small changes can be the beginning of big success. Chapter 1. The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. In this chapter, James Clear introduces a very simple but powerful idea that small habits make a huge difference in the long term. Imagine, if you improve by just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you become 37 times better. On the other hand, if you get 1% worse every day, by the end of the year, you reach almost zero. This is the compound effect of habits. The author states that we often focus on big goals and dramatic changes. We think that a revolution is needed to change our life. But the truth is that real change comes from small, consistent improvements. These small habits are called atomic habits, like tiny atoms, but together they create immense energy. James Clear gives an example of the British cycling team. In 2003, this team was very poor, but the coach focused on small improvements, like making the cycle seats more comfortable, getting better tires, and paying attention to the players' sleep and diet. In just a few years, this team became the most successful cycling team in the world. This is the power of marginal gains. The biggest lesson we get from this chapter is that if you want big results, focus on small habits. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. So if you get a little better every day, whether in studies, fitness, or business, you will achieve massive success in the long run. But if you keep repeating small negative habits daily, your life will slowly go downhill. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity. In this chapter, James Clear says that habits are not just actions, they shape your identity. Most people try to change habits based on goals. For example, I want to lose weight, I want to clear the exam, I want to grow my business. But the problem is that these are all outcome-based habits. The author says that real and permanent change comes when you adopt identity-based habits. This means you change who you want to become. For example, if you want to quit smoking, there are two ways. If someone asks, "Do you want a cigarette?" The first answer, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Here, the identity is the same, a smoker just trying to quit. The second answer, "No thanks, I don't smoke." Here, the identity itself has changed. You no longer consider yourself a smoker. This might seem like a small difference, but it is the biggest difference. The author says that every time you repeat a habit, you cast a vote for your identity. If you exercise daily, you shape your identity to be "I am a fit person." If you study daily, the identity becomes "I am a disciplined student." So, success doesn't come just from goals, but from identity. You have to think, what kind of person do I want to become? And then you have to adopt small habits that prove that identity. In other words, habit change, identity change. Chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. In this chapter, the author provides a very famous framework, the 4 laws of behavior change. He says that every habit is formed in 4 stages. Cue, the trigger that starts the habit. Craving, the desire that pulls you towards that habit. Response, the actual action you perform. Reward, the outcome that makes your brain feel good. Example. Cue, phone vibrates. Craving, the desire to check the message. Response, unlocking the phone and opening WhatsApp. Reward, the pleasure of reading the message. This same loop is repeated again and again and gradually becomes a habit. The author says that if you want to form a new good habit, make this cycle easy. And if you want to break a bad habit, make this cycle difficult. The rest of the book is based on these 4 laws in detail. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. In this chapter, James Clear tells a powerful story. A nurse suddenly looked at a patient and said, "Something is wrong." The patient seemed fine, and the reports were also normal, but the nurse's instinct turned out to be correct. A little later, the patient's condition worsened. The author explains that our brain constantly observes patterns. Our habits are also formed from that observation. We respond by recognizing cues. Many times, we don't even realize it, and our mind keeps running on autopilot. Habits are basically an unconscious recognition system. For example, automatically picking up the phone right after waking up, or feeling like eating a biscuit upon seeing tea. This story teaches us that habits are invisible, but they control our lives. Chapter 5. The best way to start a new habit. The author says that the best way to form a new habit is through an implementation intention. This means you don't just make a vague plan like, "I have to exercise." Instead, make an exact plan. "I will do 20 push-ups in my bedroom every morning at 7 a.m. When you tie a habit to a specific time and location, the chances that you will follow it increase significantly. The second method is habit stacking. This means linking a new habit to an existing habit. Example: after drinking my morning tea, I will read 10 pages. After dinner, I will meditate for 5 minutes. This makes adopting a new habit much easier because you already have a trigger. Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. The biggest lesson of this chapter is, environment beats motivation. We often think that we need motivation for habits. But the truth is that motivation is temporary, while the environment is permanent. For example, if you keep a packet of chips on the table in front of you, there is a 90% chance you will eat it. But if the same chips are kept locked in a cupboard, you might just ignore them. The author says to make good habits visible and bad habits invisible. If you want to learn guitar, keep the guitar in the middle of the room. If you want to reduce phone distraction, hide the apps in a folder or log out of them. In other words, design your environment in such a way that the desired habit feels automatically easy and the bad habit feels hard. Chapter 7. The secret to self-control. In this chapter, James Clear explains that people often think a successful person is one who has very strong self-control, but the reality is different. Research shows that people with the best self-control actually stay away from temptation rather than repeatedly confronting it. Take an example. If you are dieting and your house is filled with chips, cold drinks, and chocolates, no matter how much self-control you exert, one day you will break. But if you remove junk food from the house and only keep fruits and healthy snacks available, you will follow healthy habits without a fight. The author says that, in the long term, environment design is more powerful than motivation. This means if you repeatedly put yourself in tempting situations, you will eventually lose. But if the temptation is not in front of you, you will easily maintain good habits. So the real trick to self-control is to keep yourself away from situations where you become weak. Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. That is true smartness. Chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. In this chapter, the author introduces a concept: temptation bundling. This means you can make a boring habit interesting if you connect it with an enjoyable activity. Example: if you don't feel like exercising, listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. If you find studying boring, drink your favorite coffee while studying. In this way, the brain finds it easier to adopt the habit because it is also getting a reward along with it. Besides this, the author talks about dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that makes us feel excitement and motivation. Habits only stick when we get immediate satisfaction from them. The problem is that the reward for good habits, like studying, saving money, exercise, comes in the long term, whereas the reward for bad habits like junk food, smoking, binge-watching Netflix is immediate. Therefore, we must make our good habits immediately enjoyable and our bad habits boring. This is the secret to making habits irresistible. Chapter 9. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. In this chapter, James Clear says that our identity and habits are very strongly influenced by the people around us. For example, if your friends go to the gym every day, going to the gym will start to feel natural for you too. But if all your friends party every day and stay up late at night, it will be difficult for you to maintain a disciplined routine. Our biggest need is to belong to a group, and because of belonging, we adopt the habits that are considered normal in that group. The author explains 3 groups: the close, family and friends; the many, society or tribe; the powerful, people we admire. If you want to change your habits, join a group where the desired habits are normal. For example, if you want to become strong in your studies, spend time with studious students. If you want to learn about business, sit with entrepreneurs. The right group accelerates your growth. Chapter 10. How to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. In this chapter, the author states that every bad habit has a root cause, and that is the cue, signal. Habits never start on their own. There is always some trigger. Example: stress, smoking, boredom, scrolling Instagram, loneliness, overeating. The author suggests that if you want to break a bad habit, identify the trigger and control it. If you use your phone out of boredom, plan another activity as soon as boredom strikes, like going for a walk or doing 5 push-ups. Another method is reframing. This means looking at a habit from a new perspective. For example, instead of "I have to go jogging," think "I want to get some fresh air and energy." When you change the cues and reframe the rewards, bad habits automatically become weak. Chapter 11. Walk slowly, but never backward. In this chapter, James Clear explains the importance of consistency. People think that speed matters, that results should come quickly. But the truth is that consistency matters the most. The author says, it doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you don't stop. If you are making a little progress every day, you will eventually get very far ahead. The problem is that people expect results quickly. For example, expecting their body to transform within a week of joining the gym. When the result is slow, they quit. But the effect of habits is hidden in the plateau of latent potential. This means progress will seem slow at first, but suddenly one day there will be a breakthrough, and that breakthrough will be the compound result of all your small efforts. So the lesson is to go slow, go steady, but don't turn back. Consistency is what makes habits permanent. Chapter 12. The Law of Least Effort. In this chapter, James Clear says that humans always naturally choose the path of least resistance. This means we prefer to do work that seems easy. If a task requires a lot of effort, our mind automatically starts to avoid it. Take an example. If there is a treadmill in your room but clothes are hanging on it, there is less chance that you will use the treadmill daily. But if the treadmill is clean and ready, you will find it easier to start exercising. The author says that we should make good habits so simple that following them feels effortless, and we should make bad habits so difficult that doing them feels like hard work. Some strategies. Reduce friction for good habits. For example, if you want to eat healthy, wash fruits beforehand and keep them in front of you. Increase friction for bad habits. For example, if you want to scroll social media less, stay logged out of the apps frequently or keep your phone in another room. Remember, the easier the task, the higher the chances that you will repeat it. Chapter 13. How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. In this chapter, the author introduces a powerful concept, the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. When starting any new habit, make it so small that it can be completed in just 2 minutes. Example. Instead of read books daily, just read 1 page. Instead of daily running, just put on your shoes and step outside. To start meditation, just take 2 deep breaths. The author says that starting a habit is the most difficult part. Once you have started, you naturally move forward. For instance, someone might say they will read only 1 page, but once the book is in their hands, they will automatically read 5 to 10 pages. The 2-minute rule doesn't mean you always have to do it for only 2 minutes. It means you should make the habit so easy that excuses disappear and your brain cannot resist it. That is, small start, big growth. Chapter 14. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. In this chapter, James Clear explains another strategy, commitment devices. A commitment device is a way by which you bind your future self to discipline. Example. If you want to eat healthy, buy only healthy groceries for your home. When there is no junk food, there will be no temptation. If you want to go to the gym, buy a membership in advance and make a plan to go with your friend. Now your money and social pressure will both push you. If you want to study more, sit and study in a library so that distractions are automatically reduced. The author says to make good habits automatic and bad habits impossible. The more you control your environment and circumstances, the less willpower you will need. Chapter 15. The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change. The biggest lesson of this chapter is, what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. No matter how big the future reward of our habits is, if we are not getting satisfaction in the present, we cannot follow that habit for a long time. Example: the real reward of exercise will be visible after 6 months, but if you reward yourself immediately after the gym, like with a favorite smoothie, you will repeat the habit. If you want to save money, track your savings immediately and feel proud looking at it. The author says that the human brain always gives more value to short-term rewards. Therefore, we have to create immediate satisfaction for our good habits and immediate pain for our bad habits. For example, if you tell a friend, "If I don't go to the gym today, I will give you 500 rupees. Now, not going to the gym will become costly for you. This is an instant feedback system. Chapter 16. How to stick with good habits every day. In this chapter, the author provides a powerful tool for consistency: habit tracking. Habit tracking means recording your habits. For example, putting a cross on the calendar every day you study, or placing a tick mark in an app when you have exercised. When you see your daily progress, you get motivated. In a way, you are creating visual proof for yourself that you are improving. The author says habit tracking does 2 things. It makes you accountable to yourself. It provides satisfaction when you see your streak growing. But the most important point is, if you ever miss one day, try not to miss the second day. The rule is, never miss twice. With habit tracking, you can measure your growth and also keep yourself disciplined. Chapter 17. How an accountability partner can change everything. In this chapter, James Clear explains that the most powerful way to make habits stick is through accountability. We humans are social beings. When we know that someone is watching our progress, we naturally become more disciplined. This same psychology also pushes us in school, the office, and sports. Example: if you make a plan to go to the gym with a friend, the chances are very high that you will go regularly. Because if you don't go, your friend will think you are not serious. Another example: if you tell someone, "I will read 20 pages every day, and if I don't, I will give you 200 rupees. Now this small social contract will force you to stick to the habit. The author says that an accountability partner acts as a kind of external conscience for you. It cuts through your excuses and keeps you consistent. Furthermore, when you become part of a group, like a study group or a fitness club, the energy and culture there automatically shape your habits. You follow habits not just for your own responsibility, but also for the respect of others. In other words, if you seriously want to make your habits stick, don't fight alone. Involve someone, make someone a part of your journey. Chapter 18. The truth about talent, when genes matter and when they don't. In this chapter, the author raises a very interesting question. Does success come only from hard work, or do genes and talent also play a role? James Clear believes that genes definitely matter. For example, if someone's height is 6'6", playing basketball will be a natural advantage for them. If someone is naturally lean and lightweight, gymnastics will be more suited for them. But genes only provide a starting point, not the end result. The author says that you should choose a field where your natural abilities and interests match. For example, if you like writing and expressing ideas, you will be more successful in that field rather than forcefully trying to achieve excellence in maths. But at the same time, he also says that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. This means talent gives you an initial advantage, but consistent habits and practice are what make winners in the long term. So the lesson is clear. Recognize your natural strengths and then compound them with daily habits. This combination will make you extraordinary. Chapter 19. The Goldilocks Rule. How to stay motivated in life and work. In this chapter, the author explains a very famous principle, the Goldilocks Rule. The rule states that people are most motivated when a task is neither too easy nor too tough. Rather, the task should be slightly challenging, just enough that you can do it with a little effort. Example: if you are a tennis beginner and you have to play directly against Roger Federer, you will become instantly demotivated. But if you get to play with a player who is slightly better than your level, you will stay motivated because the game is challenging but achievable. This principle applies everywhere: studies, business, sports, fitness. If the target is too easy, it will feel boring. If it's too difficult, it will cause frustration. Growth and motivation are found in the middle ground. The author says to always keep your habits and goals in the Goldilocks zone, challenging but doable. This zone will keep you motivated in the long term. Chapter 20. The Downside of Creating Good Habits. In this final chapter, James Clear gives a very deep insight. Habits also have a downside. When you repeat something over and over, it becomes automatic. This is good because it saves energy. But the problem is that after becoming automatic, improvement can stop. For example, a driver has been driving for years, but his driving skill remains average because he now drives on autopilot and does not try to improve. The author says that mastery, chant, habits plus deliberate practice. This means habits make you consistent, but growth comes when you challenge yourself, take feedback, and push to new levels. So the lesson is, let habits become autopilot, but occasionally challenge yourself consciously. Adopt new strategies, improve your skills. Otherwise, you will get stuck in a comfort zone. Conclusion. So friends, this was the complete explanation of James Clear's life-changing book, Atomic Habits. This book taught us that small changes, if done consistently, can completely transform our lives. Whether it's about changing your identity, designing your environment, or maintaining consistency, every chapter has given us practical tools and mindsets. Now it's your turn. Think about which small habits you can add to your life and which habits you should remove. Remember, success doesn't come in a day, but the small steps you take every day lead you towards success. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel Deep Dive. Tell us in the comments which chapter you found most useful. And yes, be sure to share this video with your friends so they can also bring positive changes into their lives.